So previously we learned about middleware and how that allows us to hook into the moment after an action is dispatched and before it actually hits the reducer. And we created our checker middleware here and then hooked that up to our state by using apply middleware. Now I want to create another middleware, and this one specifically is going to be used for development. So what we'll do is I want to log to the console the specific action that's being dispatched and the new state of the store based on that action that's being dispatched. So let's create a new function here. And again, this is going to have the exact same signature we had before. So we get the store. This needs to return another function, which gets next, which is going to be the next middleware or dispatch. And then finally, we return the last function, which is going to be past the action, which is being dispatched. So now I have access to the store, next, as well as the action. First, I'm going to call console.group. So we're going to group all of this next information together in the console. And we'll give it like a title of the action type. So you'll see what that looks like if you've never used console.group here in a second. And then I'll just say group end. So everything inside of group as well as group end is going to be grouped together in the console. So first, I'm going to console.log the current action by just console.logging the action. And then I want to call next, passing it the specific action which occurred. Because if this is the last middleware in the middleware chain, next is going to be dispatched. So by calling next, what we should do is we should update the state of our store. So I'm going to come in here and say results is equal to next, passing in an action. And again, next, if logger is the last middleware in the middleware chain, is going to be the exact same as calling dispatch, which, as you should know, should, if you pass it an action, update the state of our store. And then after the state has been updated, I'm going to call, or I'm going to say the new state. We can use store.getState to get that new state. And then at the very end, we just return whatever our result was. All right, so now we have logger. We want a way to inform Redux about this brand new middleware. So just like we did before with our checker function, we need to go down to where we are creating our store. And specifically right here, the second argument that's being passed to create store. And luckily, we don't need to do anything fancy here. All we have to do is just pass in our new middleware as the second argument to apply middleware. So what's going to happen is whenever our middleware runs, we're going to first run our checker middleware. And then after that, when checker calls next, which it does right here, that's going to then trigger our logger middleware because logger comes after checker. So let's see if this is working now. So first add to do, let's say walk the dog. And there we go. We get our group right here. The action is this action right here. We have a type of add to do along with our to do item. And then the new state is going to be this right here. If we come and add a new goal, then this is what the new state looks like. We can come and toggle this. So every time that we call dispatch, we're getting a new group inside of our console here that has the action as well as the new state. So this is pretty handy for debugging because anytime that we change the store state, we're going to get a bunch of information about what the action was, as well as what the new state is based off of the action that occurred. Now, what I like about middleware is you can kind of get as creative as you want. It gives you the store, next, and the action, and whatever you can think of, you can do. So later on in the course, when we start getting into asynchronous data, what we'll see is we're going to use middleware in order to help separate our UI logic from our data fetching logic. So again, we'll see that coming up, but now what you've done and now what you've learned is how to use middleware inside of a Redux application in order to hook into that moment after an action is dispatched, but before that action actually hits the reducer.